Okay, welcome to the Fall 2021 Study Abroad Fair. I have a special guest from London. We have Carlota. If you could introduce yourself and share with us some valuable information on studying abroad at Regents University in London. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks, and well done for pronouncing my name that well. Doesn't happen very often, and as you can hear, it's not the most British name you could ever heard. I'm actually Italian, but lovely to meet you all. I'm the study abroad manager here at Regents, and although the presentation today is obviously about studying at Regents University London, I kind of want to start off by giving a little bit of information about London because a lot of you may have seen it in movies or in pictures, but you might not know much about the city. So first of all, just to give you an idea of where we are, you can actually see a picture of our campus here, and we are set in a royal park, which is very close to all of that London has to offer. The name of the park is actually Regents, hence the name Regents University London, and it's actually owned by the royals, by the Queen. So you're going to be based in a very kind of distinct location. And what I really like about it is that although you are in a big city and you're in the middle of the hustle and bustle of what it's got to offer, you also have your kind of peace and tranquility in the park and on campus. So that's one of the perks, I think, of coming here. In terms of London, the reason why I put here that the UK capital will be your classroom and your playground is because we at Regents have a very practical approach with our classes. So although you're going to be studying classes, you're actually going to have a lot of exposure to what the city has to offer with all of the classes you're going to be doing. So if you're doing, for example, theatre, you might go to the Globe and see Shakespeare plays. If you're studying fashion, you might go and see different boutiques in Marylebone, which is a little area near our campus. If you're studying business, you might go and see different financial companies. So there is a very kind of practical to make sure, practical approach to make sure that you make the most of your time here. And then I kind of like to describe London as history blending with modern architecture, cultures, and sites. And it's perfect, for lovers of big cities. But it's also perfect for those who prefer some quiet every now and then, because it's made up of lots of little areas, and every one of them have their kind of own distinct feel. So you have like a lot of creative districts like Shoreditch or Notting Hill, which you might have heard in the movie. And then, there's a place for everyone in London. So something new to discover every day. And there's actually a saying that goes, when a man is tired of London, he's tired of life, which you might have heard. And I think it describes and sums up quite well what London is all about. One of the things I really like about London, I've actually been living here 3 years myself. And the things that caught my eye, my eye the first time is the diversity that you find here. It's actually home to more than 100,000 international students from 200 different countries, and Regents itself actually hosts 80% of their student population that are international students. So we have over 200 nationalities on campus, 180 nationalities on campus that would be both for students and staff, and that kind of reflects the very diverse population that you will find in London. It's a very global cosmopolitan city, and it attracts a lot of different types of people. So you will have people from different religions, different ethnicity, different language, political views. So that would really help you shaping yourself and meeting people with different interests, but also find your group of people to, I don't know, practice a language, for example, or attend a workshop that you're interested in. Everyone goes on really every day about their own business in a nice way, in the sense that you always feel very inclusive and you're always free to be who you are. So that's what I really, really like about it. It's also a very good travel hub. We as Regents, like I said earlier, we are located in a very strategic location in London because we are basically center/northwest, and it is close pretty much to all of the main attractions. And I'm not saying that when you come to London you want to be a tourist, but it's good to have that kind of availability of places to roam around even without getting public transport to walk to. But if you did wanted to travel, You can benefit from excellent transport links across the UK and beyond. We actually have 5 major international airports that can take you pretty much anywhere, even if you wanted to go to Europe or, obviously it's easier for you to come from the US. You're unlikely to need a car in London. There's so many public transport, buses, bikes, trains, the tube, which is the equivalent of your underground or subway. So it's really, really easy. And as a student, you can actually get 30% off the London tube and most transports as well. So it is quite a good deal that you get out of it. And our station, the one near Regents, is called Baker Street. And it's actually one of the original stations of the Metropolitan Railway, which is the world's first underground railway that opened back in 1863. So it's very nice. You go there, a lot of students like to take pictures and say, I've been here. And it's actually very close to the Sherlock Holmes Museum and statue, if any of you are a Sherlock Holmes fan. So again, plenty of opportunity to be exposed to culture and literature there as well. Contrary to, a lot of people's belief, because it is called the Big Smoke. London is thought to be like a very grey city, but and I was pleasantly surprised when I actually moved here. There's a lot of green areas. In fact, 40-70% of London is actually green space. So it's really easy to find peace and tranquility. You've got a lot of different parks. Of course, Regent's Park is one of them, but you've got Hyde Park, you've got Queen's Park, you've got Victoria Park, plenty of opportunity to, enjoy open air events, a lot of outdoor sports, water activities. There's always a lot of markets at weekends and, music concerts and sports events. Obviously, things have kind of slowed down a little bit during COVID, understandably, but now things are picking up. And even during summer, there were a lot of outdoor cinemas. People are out and about having a picnic, enjoying a walk along the canals. So yeah, it's actually really nice. And here at Regents nearby, we have Primrose Hill, which, you can Google it. It's really nice because you probably get the best view of London, and it's only about a 15-minute walk from the campus. So it's a really nice place to be. Obviously, arts and history are a big part of what you're going to find in London. There's, if art is your thing, some of the world's most recognizable paintings can be found in London. It's got over 1,000 museums and galleries, and most of them, the good thing about it is that they're free to visit. There are almost 200 museums in London. But there's something for everyone, so you don't necessarily need to be into arts. There's science. If you like science, we've got, for example, the Science Museum, the Natural History Museum. But if you like history, there's a Museum of London that goes through all of the history from prehistoric rule to Roman times and up to modern day. If you like art, you've got the Tate Museum's modern art. So there's so many different things that you can do, and there's always a lot of arts and crafts workshops going on. So if you like, for example, learning how to knit, how to paint, how to do graffiti. If you like going to the theatre, there's a lot to do there as well. We are very close to the West End, which I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's pretty much the equivalent of Broadway in New York, and it's famous for world-class shows. So there's always a lot of famous screen actors that often make appearances, and you'll have a lot of choices of different genres if you like to go to the theatre. And a lot of the time you can find last-minute tickets that are quite cheap as well. So it's a great opportunity to do that. And as I briefly mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, if you are taking theatre or acting classes or acting related classes, you often go and actually do a lot of hands-on activities. So our students usually go to the Globe Theatre to watch Shakespeare plays or other different musicals and plays as well. Another good thing, not necessarily if you are studying business, but in general, London, is known as one of the world's financial capitals, and it's got, many global businesses, and 75% of Fortune 500 companies have their offices here in London. So it would be a very good opportunity for you to kind of build your network if that's what you're interested in, and set kind of the foundation for when you're going to find a job. Although you might not be working in the UK, you might be able to get in touch with companies that might have offices near where you live and set up that relationship. So then when you finish, you can kind of bring the knowledge back home. But also, our university always welcome different lecturers and visitor guests, and a lot of them will be part of these kind of businesses. So you can learn a lot from them and get into to meet them and build that relationship. Now, in terms of why, should you choose Regents, I think one of the things that I like to say to students is the very personalized approach that you get here. So there's a very face-to-face kind of education, which is kind of tailored to your need in a way. And this is because we are not like a big university. We are a private university. Our student body is approximately 3,800 students. And so that gives it the opportunity to have small classes. Our classes range from 14 to up to maximum of 30, but on an average, I would say it's about 14 students per class, which means that you have a very personalized approach. You get to know your course leaders. You really build that relationship that goes beyond the class. And you also get a personal tutor to guide you throughout your study. So if you ever need any support, not only you're going to have us and other support services, but you also have an academic that can give you advice and can put you in touch with the right people. And then apart from the academic kind of aspect, the thing to bear in mind is that the student and staff ratio is 13:1. So it means for every 13 students, there's actually one member of staff that can help you out. So that means that obviously when you come, you're going to have a lot of attention. And by the time you leave, you're probably going to know most of the people's names, because everyone is usually very friendly and try their best to help you out and make your time here enjoyable. The practical focus, which I mentioned earlier, so a lot of hands-on activities, you're going to learn through experience. As you can see here, there's a few pictures of our, acting students, fashion students, business, and that's communication and liberal arts. So there's a bit of everything, a lot of events throughout the year to network, a lot of visiting experts to kind of add value to your classes. And our classes are usually quite interactive. So you not just need to stay there and listen to lectures, but you're going to be asked to do a lot of group work, presentations, do your own kind of research independently to come up with a piece of work, whether it is something creative like a portfolio or like a final year fashion show, for example, or to something a little bit more research based, which could be like a specific essay on a topic that you've been given to work on. The good thing is that it's so basically the advantage of being in the campus where we are is that we're actually the only university in London that have a closed campus, which is probably the closest that you can get to an American university. And this means that we've pretty much got everything that you need here on campus. So not only you can attend all of your classes here without having to move to different, buildings around the city, but you also have on-campus accommodation or on-campus housing. We all offer single and twin room. So triple is actually there because up until this term, there was the opportunity for that. But from spring 2022, we only have single and twins. And we do have a meal credit that's added to your ID card. Basically, what happens is that you will pay a certain amount, and then in that amount, you get about £1,300 of meal credit that you can use across all outlets on campus. So you can top that up if need to. And I'm going to touch in a second about our food outlets. I don't know if there is a slide about that actually, so I might explain it briefly now. And then if there is that slide, I skip it. But basically, we do have a refectory that does daily fresh foods and changes the menu every day, and that operates breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then we also have another kind of more fancy and posh place, which is called the Brasserie, and you can still get food there, but it's more kind of at a sit down meal if you want to have something a bit fancier. We do have a pub on campus that do pub food and is again open lunch and dinner. We have a Starbucks in case you are a Starbucks fan, being from the US. And then we also have all of the kind of vending machines, so you never starve for sure. But then also the good thing, because we are so close to the outside of campus, you can, in 10 minutes you are on the main road, and there's a lot of different shops and outlets there as well where you can get your food. We also have a 24-hour security and reception. This is not only on housing, but also on the whole campus. So the campus is open 24/7, but it's always monitored, and you need a card to go in and out. So it's very safe, especially, for your parents. If they want a peace of mind, that's probably the best option for you, because you're going to be looked after. And obviously we got the residential assistance as well in the housing. The link for housing is here if you want to have a look. We've recently refurbished all of our rooms and they're quite pretty and new, so you can have a look. I must say though, you'll be able to see that online, but our rooms, they all have shared bathrooms. So there's going to be the women's floor, the men's floor, and then you've got shared bathroom. Students usually don't have problems with this, but if it is a problem, we also have an off-campus accommodation on offer, which is located in King's Cross, which is about a 10-minute underground ride from the campus. So it's not too bad in case that's what you want. Obviously, we've got a lot of places to meet your friends. So there was this slide and I've kind of touched on this. So I'm not going to repeat all of this, but essentially, yeah, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to meet people around the university, not just in classes. And there's a lot to do. Obviously you are in London, which there's always something going on. But inside the university, we do have a student union that organize a lot of social events, especially, during induction week and welcome week. There's a big welcome party. There's a lot of evening kind of quizzes and boat parties and dancing events. But then during the year, they organize a lot of things as well. And obviously, if you sign up for a specific club or a society, you might organize your own things with them. And we do have sports team too, which I know sometimes can be quite important for American students. That program is called Be Active, if you want to look it up online. And we've got a range of sports, like from football, football would be your soccer, to volleyball. We've got polo. I think we might have tennis. I'm not too sure. You need to probably look up the latest from them. And they also sometimes organize tours around London at weekends. I can't give you the exact schedule now because that's usually released on a semester basis. But if you wanted to mingle with other students during the weekend, you might have the chance to do that as well with our events team. When you come here, because you're going to be considered a Regent student, you're going to have access to all of our services. So there's going to be what we call a student hub, which is where you can get all of the support you need in one spot without having to kind of move around the university to find the answers that you need. But then at the same time, we also have a group of student services people that can help you with any personal or academic issues you might have, any disability you might need accommodating with. So for example, if you need extra time with your exam, or if you need a specific chair or whatever that is, it's always best to let us know in advance so that we have plenty of time to accommodate you for this. But if that's what's kind of stopping you from going abroad, don't worry, because we're here to try and make this happen for you. In terms of subject areas, we offer a variety of modules. These are all of the kind of areas that we cover. So from business management to liberal arts, liberal studies, however you want to call it, fashion and design, we have fashion marketing, we have film media and performance, or acting and screen, film, psychology, and also we offer some languages as well, which are also credit bearing. And the good thing about our modules is that you can actually mix and match based on your needs. So we allow students to take up to 30 ECTS per academic term, which is the equivalent of your 15 US credits, which normally works out similar to the US, which would be 4 to 5 modules or classes per semester. And you can mix and match across different study areas. So even if you are, for example, a business student, but you have an elective and you want to take something from film, then you might be able to take a class from year one in film to mix it up. So we don't put any restriction on that. Of course, you do need to get the approval from your home university to make sure that everything is approved, but from our end, you're free to do that. And in terms of programs, so we have three types of programs. We got the autumn term, which is the one that is actually running now, and we're welcoming students this week. So it goes from September through to December, usually mid-September through end of December, and I mean before Christmas. And then the spring term, which we're actually accepting application for now. So if you are interested, make sure that you speak with your coordinator as soon as possible so that they can nominate you on time for you to come in spring. But that semester goes from January to May. And then we also have a summer school, so a summer term that's usually in June and July. And in case you're interested in that summer program, we'll be releasing more information in the upcoming months. But basically, we have a program where you can do a 6-week school, and you can choose up to 2 classes, and it's mainly fashion or liberal studies. And then there is another program that lasts for 12 weeks, and that's fashion with internship. So if you are a fashion student and you want to do 6 weeks of classes, you do 2 classes and then you move on and do an internship with a company in the UK, which are kind of fashion focused. So if you are interested in that as well, feel free to ask your coordinator to inquire about it, or feel free to contact directly. We're happy to give you more information. And I think now I kind of finish off with this because I'm aware of the time, but basically, if you do want to apply for spring, make sure again that you inform your study coordinator as soon as possible. If you want to study in autumn, so autumn 22 next term, there is still plenty of time. We're not going to open the applications until probably March next year. But I always say to students, the sooner you kind of start planning, the better. So you don't have to stress last minute. You have plenty of time to kind of answer question in advance, clear any doubts, and really make sure that the university you're going to is the right one for you. And last but not least, I haven't added a slide on this, but I was talking to your coordinator earlier that we open up the university again after a year and a half of online learning just for this term. So from autumn 2021, we're going back to face-to-face teaching, which is really exciting. We finally see a lot of students on campus. So at the moment, if things remain as they are, the plan is to continue like this for the following term. So it means that if you're coming in spring, you're going to be able to come here. And at the moment, I think that for the US, if you are double vaccinated, it's actually easy to come into the UK because you just need to do 1 test prior to your arrival and potentially 1 test on day 2 when you arrive. But if you're fully vaccinated, you don't require to quarantine when you arrive, so it makes your life a little bit easier as well. But again, if you're interested in coming, we can share more information as we go because we're constantly monitoring the situation to make sure that we provide the latest advice to our partners and students. So I'm gonna finish this off now. I don't know if Scott, if you do have any questions that